Okay, so my face is red because I just got out of the jacuzzi. Yeah, I get pretty ugly in hot water. That's a genetic defect of mine. But anyway, something came up on Discord. Somebody messaged me and they said that they were afraid of getting banned for asking this question, but they asked it anyway because they were really curious, and I understand, and I didn't ban them. Instead, I'm actually going to address what they asked in this video because, if I'm what I say I am, then I can talk to you guys. First off, as you know, my husband was threatening to leave me if I spoke about this, and they were wondering why I would speak about, or why my husband would stop me from speaking about this if my husband were innocent. I want you to imagine that somebody forced their mouth on you or otherwise made you very uncomfortable and put their mouth on your lower region and you felt very uncomfortable, and you would express that you were generally uncomfortable, but you were also kind of like not exactly too clear about it, so the other two parties were like, maybe there's a chance, maybe this could work out, yada yada. And you're very embarrassed about it because you didn't even feel 100% about it from the very get-go, and as things progressed you started feeling less and less into it, but the other two people were still super into it, and you just felt terrible because your husband would say that this is what he wanted because he thought that this other person truly cared about the first person, and that the first person was just being cold and heartless and yada 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 because they were ignoring how dedicated and loyal and how their heart was on the line, yada yada yada, because I believed in this other person and that they were truly dedicated to the first person and that they had well intentions and that they were actually a great human being, and that I thought that Kai was just being horrible and mean and rude by rejecting Sarah repeatedly. So I want you to imagine being Kai and being pressured into all this even though you don't really want to take part, and being called a cruel person for not wanting to take part because I am an asshole and I instead decided to ally with this other person and feel 100% what I thought they felt instead of actually relating with my own husband who did not want to be a part of it. So when somebody say I want to tell the truth and I want to tell everybody what really happened, and this person's horrified by the entire event because they never wanted to take part in the first place and they just feel humiliated in general, and gross about it, that they had to go through this from the first time that Sarah went up and kissed Kai, and Kai was freaked out by that. This whole thing has been a nightmare for Kai, so me saying that I wanted to go talk to you guys about it was just like Kai didn't want to relive it, like a true victim of something terrible. Now, I'm not saying that Kai was all out, 100% your typical tragedy or anything like that, but I am saying that Kai did go through something very hard, and I was not very helpful when Kai was going through a hard time, and instead I was trying to help the other person get what they wanted rather than help Kai and respect Kai's boundaries. So of course Kai doesn't want me to have him relive that because it was a horrifying experience for him. Now, something that this person brought up was that there's a photo where the bottom is not cropped out. Kai took a selfie. It's an obvious selfie, like a selfie meant for Instagram. It was actually posted to Instagram. Kai took a selfie and it shows a silhouette of Kai's lower region. It's obviously not a sexual image. It's obviously not meant to be that way. And the other image that was sent, there's an accidental nip slip. Again, that is not a sexual image. It's happened to Kai before in videos. It happens to people who have nipples. Go figure. Sometimes they're nip slips. So people are using those two images to say that Kai is some kind of pervert who sends people perverted images. The problem is that with these images, there's no context. Sarah knows that she was never supposed to have those images. Sarah knows damn well the context, and Sarah has not been honest about the context because this entire time she's been trying to hurt me because I rejected her because I don't want to sleep with her because she was creepy in the Aladdin movie. Let me show you what Sarah did, okay? This is gonna be really weird, but I need you guys to understand how weird this was. Okay, I'm watching Aladdin, I'm turning sideways because I'm a little taller than her, and I was looking down to my left, that's where she was, and I'm watching Aladdin, enjoying the fucking movie, and she does this. Up at me, during the movie. Like, she's like, in the movie, she's like shaming me, right? Because she keeps like, expecting, she actually later on said that she wanted to BLOW me in the theater, but she knew that she wasn't allowed to do that anyway, because she wasn't allowed to go mouth to crotch, as I established way long ago in the first videos. She wasn't allowed to do that because my husband was uncomfortable with that, and we didn't do that. But Sarah did at least want to make out, and I want to make out with her because Aladdin was such a good movie, and I personally felt a little awkward about it. For some reason there was a vibe, it was off, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that right then. So she was shaming me after the film. She was like, you didn't make out with me in the theater, I was going to BLOW you. And I was just like, oh, stop, Like, can we have one day where you're not being weird? Anyway, so I just got out of hot water, so it's a little bit of asthma Even though I don't have asthma, it just feels very short-breathed, winded. Anyway, so Sarah has Kai's old laptop. As it was explained to me, this laptop may have been a different laptop than the one I thought it was, because Kai had a very, very old laptop and then a semi-old laptop. Either way, I don't think I had accounts on either. But the laptop that Kai sold to Sarah may have had Kai's old account on it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was wiped or not before it was handed over to Sarah. How Sarah could access Kai's data, I have no idea. But people have not been given the full context of how Sarah wound up with those selfies that were actually posted to Instagram, only the part was cropped out. Okay, so like, to automatically jump to the conclusion that Kai's some kind of pervert based on non-perverted selfies that just happen to not be cropped out at the bottom and don't really show much, it seems kind of ridiculous, and the fact that the other party hasn't actually given you the full context, also ridiculous. Now, I want to emphasize something because it's very, very clear in Sarah's tweets and with Sarah's behavior in general. Sarah was always trying to get back at me for rejecting her. That's what this is all about. The reason I say this is because in Sarah's recent tweets, she was like, I still have a lot of love for Kai. Sarah was still expressing an enormous love for Kai, okay? But Sarah's also saying that she exchanged photos with Kai and has dragged Kai through the most slanderous campaign I think I've ever seen in my life. You don't love that person, you're destroying that person's life with lies. So the fact that that doesn't add up, also with the whole, and I love reiterating this because it's the most ridiculous thing, when she was fake crying and came up with a dry face, or however that happened, because again, I didn't see the video, I can't bear to watch the video, I don't like watching any of the interviews or anything like that because it's just a disgusting carnival to me. It's a bunch of idiot clowns dancing around thinking that they came to a conclusion because they all have issues from their past that they're pushing on other people and acting like everyone else is the villain when really they need to focus on the real villains, like the person who actually violated Sarah last year or 2 years ago, November, December, something like that. You know, the crime she didn't report, the actual crime, because she didn't want to talk about it, and she probably would have told people, if you talk about it, I won't be your friend anymore. You guys see the connection now? Okay? Think about it this way. Sarah went through a horrible crime with some guy, okay? She described the guy as skin color, yada yada. But she went through this horrible thing. Do you think that if I said, I'm gonna go make a video about what you went through, she would say, if you go tell people what I went through, I will stop being your friend? Do you think she would say that? I do, because that's what victims do, right? They don't want people talking about what they went through. That's what Kai did to me. Kai said, if I talk about it, then Kai would leave me. Now, Kai hasn't left me. Instead, Kai settled for me going to therapy, which is cool. I'm happy to go to a therapist just because, you know, it's good to sort out your mental problems. Everyone should go see a therapist in general, especially in Sarah's case where she actually got prescribed medication for her head problems. Regardless, I don't really understand how anyone could not see how fluid, how clear, how consistent, and how obvious this all is. In that video where Sarah literally, when she was 18, it happened in November, December as well, where she said, Kai's always been great to me, Kai never did anything wrong to me, Kai's always been appropriate, yada yada yada, where she said it so clear and concise, and then later on makes a video where her hair is allegedly dirtier, she's fake crying, no tears, her beanie is adjusted differently, there's apparently a different camera quality or camera type that she's using, she has a different background, and she says that's bloopers. You guys, bloopers are like me right here going, God, I want to fuck the shit out of, oh, the camera's on? That's a blooper, right? Like, and then nothing changed. Exact same setting, exact same time. It wouldn't be like this. God, I want to fuck it. Oh wait, sorry, let's. Blooper. Like, what is that? That makes no sense. If it was accurate, I'd be in a different room with a shifted beanie and everything, and, you know. But my point is that there's too many inconsistencies on the other party's half, and the fact that this laptop, whatever laptop it is, one that I don't think I've ever used in my entire life, unless it's so confusing because I don't keep track of Kai's laptops. It was Kai's laptop. I don't keep track of it, though. Same with Kai's texts and so forth. Like, Here's something that Kai recently told me about the whole Sarah thing. When Kai did eventually see Sarah naked because Sarah admitted to blackmailing us, Kai said that he was surprised by Sarah's body. He had no expectation of Sarah being physically like that. Which tells me that Kai didn't see any photos, and I don't know why Sarah would say she sent photos, because here's another logic problem. When I found out that Sarah felt super upset about the Dat Booty Dough joke, I literally said she had to leave the house because I was so disgusted that a person who wasn't 18 was saying something about that, me being, my age. So I was horrified by that. If I found out someone was sending Kai nudes who wasn't of age, I would have kicked Kai out. Literally. Straight up. I would have said, Kai, you gotta leave. That's fucking disgusting. And the reason that this is true is because Sarah, no doubt, would admit that I kicked her out for the Dat Booty Dough comment and the outrage about it, even though it was a joke. So why wouldn't I kick her out if I found out she was exchanging nudes? And so it's my whole strong 100% belief that Sarah is lying. Just like Sarah lied about the bloopers video, and just like Sarah lied about pretty much the whole thing just because she wanted to hurt me, and then tweets how much she still has love for Kai. Anyway, so all that being said, that's the video for now. And I hope this clears some things up. Kai doesn't want to speak about it, obviously, because Kai is actually a victim in the situation. Which, I wish you guys would respect and understand.